Welcome to day 8 of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. We're here again in the Bang Showbiz offices and we're just reviewing another quite amazing day in court. The big things to come out today were statements from Depp's exes Winona Ryder and Vanessa Paradis, where they both spoke very positively about their former partner. Ryder, who of course made clear that she obviously wasn't there during his marriage to Amber, but from her experience it's quite impossible to believe, and that she's shocked, confused and upset after hearing the accusations. Whereas Vanessa, who's known Johnny for 25 years and together as a couple for 14, with who she of course shares 2 children, said that he's a kind, attentive, generous, non-violent person and father, and also expressed her shock that this has come to court. So we're once again going to speak to Bang's owner Rick Skye, who's going to offer his assessment ahead of day 9, which starts tomorrow at the Royal Courts of Justice.
Yeah, it's another amazing day. Of course, we knew that Vanessa Paradis and Winona Ryder would be very, very positive. We had inklings of this because there's never been any bad revelations about their time together. Both very, very, both evident, both statements saying how wonderful Johnny Depp is, how he's not a violent man, how in fact he's the opposite of a violent person in the fact that he's kind, generous, loving. It's very, it's very, very damning against Amber Heard, really. I mean, that's the amazing thing. Of course, a leopard or a Depp can change his spots. Who knows? If you're fueled by drink and drugs, anything can happen. But I don't know. It just seems that their evidence is so positive for Depp now. We've heard other things as well today. We heard Depp's head of security, and he's basically saying that, and again we've heard this before, that the violent person and the abusive person in this relationship that they had, this explosive relationship that Heard and Depp had, was Amber Heard, not Johnny, and that many times that Johnny would call him, I think his name Mr. Depp, I think he was head of security for Depp, would call him and say, please take me away, Amber's being abusive towards me. He also says that he never saw any cuts or bruises or anything like this on Amber's face or any injuries. So that's quite amazing. Before this, I think it was the day before this, you even had one of Amber Heard's assistants, Kate James, who worked with Amber for a long time, saying, Amber was the sort of the abusive one, and she almost goaded Depp into sort of going, having rows and things. And she made a very interesting point, and this is not today, but this is the day, I think yesterday, she made an interesting point that Amber Heard had in fact appropriated a story about Kate James being raped in Latin America for herself, to use herself. So what we're getting now is tales of Amber almost being a fantasist. That's what we're starting to get, or been getting for some time. One last thing I must say is about the dogs. I forgot to say it again, and the dogs have been rearing their ugly butts, I suppose. Once more, we've got this thing where there were feces in the marital bed. Amber claims it was Depp playing a practical joke on her, or was it the dogs? We had this great thing about who done it. Was it Pistol or Boo, both little Yorkshire Terriers, who made this, who defecated in their bed. So she says he did it, he says she did it. Then did the dogs do it? I think it's proven beyond all evidence of doubt that it wasn't the dogs. These were human feces. And in fact, Depp wanted to have them DNA tested. This is a great story, isn't it? He wanted to have them DNA tested so that that we could find out specifically who did it. That's it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rick. So yeah, ahead of day 9, think that Rick just asked the question, can a leopard change their spots, or perhaps more appropriate for this case, could a Depp herd change their spots? So we'll join you back here tomorrow, and we'll give you the latest. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Okay, wasn't it?